Since getting my Quest 3, I've been fortunate enough to have multiple companies reach out to me to send me accessories to test with the new headset. There are a couple of products that I really don't have a whole lot to say about, and this isn't good or bad, it's just because they have a specific use case, I don't want to release like a 90-second video for it. So rather than do that, today we're going to go over every single accessory I've received for Quest 3. I'll go over the use case for each one of them and let you know whether or not you should pick it up. There will be a link and a timestamp for each company and the product down below, and if applicable, there'll be a discount code if you want to check them out. For the sake of being fair, I'm going to do these in the order that I received them. First up are the VR cover cloth wraps for the Meta Quest 3. I received these pretty much the week I got my Quest 3. Hold this up to the camera. These are microbial multi-layer cloth covers that go over your Quest 3 facial interface. They're designed to keep sweat from getting in your eye. I'm a big dude and I sweat a lot in VR, whether I'm working out or playing the rhythm game, or even if I'm playing a sitting game. If I had the headset on too long, sometimes I'll just break out in the sweat. And as much as I like silicone covers, they don't work all that great for me because they don't stop the sweat from getting down into my eye if I'm sweating in buckets. So having something like this to absorb the sweat works pretty well. VR Cover was one of the first companies to make hygiene and comfort products for VR headsets. I think they've been in the game since like 2014. Their silicone cover for the Quest 2, or excuse me, their silicone facial interface for the Quest 2 was very, very popular. I'm sure they're gonna put one out for Quest 3 as well. For this, there are rubber bands that hook onto each part of the facial interface. So I'm just gonna take this off here. You can see the rubber band right there. It just hooks on the bottom of it. There's also a top strap, and I'll put the other one up to show that. There's a top elastic band that goes over the top, and there's a little hook inside it that holds it in place. It takes maybe a minute to put one of these on. If I had the logic of playing about it, I have a very large nose. This is very personal to me. I have a very large nose, and if you look at like the bottom edges of this, sometimes they'll like tickle or like rub against my nose if I have it on too long. So generally I don't keep this on full time, but if I am working out, and yes I do work out, so if I'm doing something like VR workout, shout out, this works great because again, silicone covers don't really block sweat from getting into my eye and fogging up my lenses. So I like these for that. So if you're a workout enthusiast, give these a shot. There's a link down below to check these out. Next up were the YOGES VR sticks. You can take one look at these and see what they're actually used for. Generally, you're going to use these in rhythm games. There's also a great attachment that you can use to connect the two ends longer and make one big long piece, and you can use that for something like kayak VR. I know the first thing you're probably saying when you look at one of these, I'm going to unscrew this to show it, is I'm afraid my controller is going to get yeeted if I hit too hard. There's actually a locking mechanism that keeps this in place. I'll walk you through how to do it. So first thing you want to do is insert your controller. You want your controller strap on for this. Don't take it off, by the way. These do not work with VR grips, so that's something to think about. So I'm going to pull your strap through, insert your controller, get it nice and snug in there. There are some foam pads on the inside, or some rubber pads on the inside just to hold it in place. And then once that's in there, there's a hook right here at the bottom that you're going to hook the bottom of your strap into, like this, and then twist it to lock it in place. Once you do that, between the rubber stamps, the rubber pads that are inside the holster here, and the twisting locking mechanism, you can literally use this thing like a hammer, and it doesn't move at all. In terms of tracking and having any issues with this, I tested this with Beat Saber. It didn't work all that well for Ragnarok because that's not the game that I need extra reach in. But for Beat Saber and for Synth Riders, this worked pretty well. Also, these are great for Gorilla Tag because these are going to extend the amount of reach that you have to be able to move your arms around a locomotion game like that. I personally do not play Gorilla Tag, but my daughter does, so I had her test this with Gorilla Tag and with Beat Saber. She's a big Beat Saber fan as well. So here are her thoughts. I don't have the B-roll for privacy reasons. She is my daughter. But here's what she thought about it. When you played Beat Saber, you did Beat Saber with and without the sticks. Which one did you prefer?
With, because it helps you reach further for the blocks.
Okay, so you didn't have to like stretch as far to get to everything?
Yeah.
So it made the songs easier?
Yeah.
Okay, and you did Gorilla Tag with or without the sticks? Which was easier? With the sticks? Why is that?
Because the longer your arms are, the higher you can jump.
Okay, good. Last note on these, if you're using these separately, there is a cap you can put on the bottom of it that has a strap that you can put onto your wrist to hold it in place. So this is on my left wrist. You just pull this tight and lock it down. So just like the wrist straps, and now it's pretty much securely in place with your wrist here. with the controller in here with the rubber mats and with the cord. So really this thing is not going anywhere. Again, tracking is not an issue. I know there is an LED on the bottom of the Quest 3 controller, but because your hands are not anywhere near the top where the other LEDs are, the controller tracks fine in Beat Saber. I didn't have a single issue with it. The other reason I like this is for accessibility purposes. For people who are sitting down to play rhythm games, Beat Saber is a fairly physical game, and because you're moving around with your hips, sometimes you have to like stretch all the way over to hit a note. So for people who have maybe limited mobility or just need to play a lot of Beat Saber or Sith Rider sitting down, this gives you that extra reach without having to like swivel your hips or anything like that. So it's a great accessibility tool as well. These next two products came from Zyber VR. The first is their standard head strap. This is not a battery strap. I'll address that in a few minutes. This is just a standard straightforward head strap. When I first looked at this, I thought the top strap was going to be a bit too thick, but as someone who was bald, so I don't really have hair to worry about, it didn't really press against it, and I appreciate the fact that this gave a little bit more stability on the top. Usually top straps like this can be a little bit thin, and I can just feel them like wiggling around on top of my head. Because this is so thick, it really, I don't know, it just felt like it stayed in place better. My favorite thing about this, other than the hinge gives you almost 90 degrees, but my favorite thing about this is the hinge on the back piece. So I'm someone who I like to wear my headset kind of lower on the back of my head. So if you can pivot it like this, it helps the cup and kind of hold it in place on the back of your head a little bit better, as opposed to like the rigid ones that don't move at all. And then it's kind of, you kind of move around, shake it to get a really nice, comfortable fit. There's also on this side a spot to hook a cord here. So if you're plugged into like, if you're plugged into like an external battery pack, or if you're plugged into your PC for PC VR, this keeps it off of your ear, which is nice. I wish the arms were a little bit thinner, but I think I have another strap that has the same problem, because it was a bit tougher to get over-the-ear headphones over this, but that's a minor complaint, and not everyone uses over-the-ear headphones. So big fan of this strap. It's the one pretty much been my daily driver since I got it. I'm pretty happy with it. Zyber is testing the battery power version of this strap. It may be available by the time this video comes out. I'm going to get my hands on one of those as soon as I get it, because we know battery straps are an issue with how much power drain the Quest 3 is having right now. So speaking of batteries, the other thing Zyber sent me was this neck-worn power bank. I was very concerned about this when I first saw it, because I was afraid that it was going to be too heavy. It's got some heft to it when you hold it, but when I put it on, I barely noticed this was there. I'll get to the battery charge in a minute, but just for comfort purposes, because that's going to be the first thing that people see when they think about this, I would not advise people get this if you play a lot of shooters, if you play a lot of games where you're moving around a whole lot, because you will feel it like shift a little bit. Even though it is rubber on the back to kind of keep it firm against your neck, it's still going to move, and you're still going to notice it at that point. If you're playing more cozy games, you're playing chill experiences, or if you're playing games sitting down, I think this is perfect for people. Also for people who aren't using VR for gaming, if they're using it to watch movies or do any kind of like entertainment stuff or meditate, stuff like that, this is a fantastic alternative for that. So I really like it for that purpose. The battery does come out, you can charge this separately if you want to. There's a charge port on that. You can buy separate batteries if you want to hot swap these around. They're about 25 bucks each, I think. In terms of charge time, I've tried 4 different accessories for Quest. I've tried 2 different battery head straps, this, and an external power bank that I already owned. This gave me pretty good performance. When I wore this and not using mixed reality, I got almost 5 hours out of this. When I was doing heavy mixed reality, I just turned mixed reality on the whole time, and I watched like some YouTube videos. I walked around my house a bit. I played Demio Battles because I was doing that for a review. It was significantly short, and it got down to about 4 hours, but that's still pretty darn good. And I actually ran into the glitch that some people have had where this drained in a couple of minutes a couple of times. If you're a VR power user, you're probably going to want longer than that. But honestly, for someone who is just getting into VR or doesn't do long sessions like that, this is fine to keep your headset going past a little bit over that 2 hour mark. So I'm a much bigger fan of this than I thought I was going to be. The other head strap I tested was from AnnaPro. This one is a battery strap. Right away, I noticed that this one hinges way further back than the Zyber one did, so I did like this mobility because it allows you to like wear the headset on top of your head if you have to like pull it up real quick. In terms of fit, like I said about the Zyber Pro, I don't know if it's just because of the thickness of Quest 3's arms, but this, I had a little trouble getting over-the-ear headphones over this. Again, not everyone uses those, so your mileage may vary there. In terms of overall battery power, the website said anywhere from 6 to 9 hours. I think they were basing this on the Quest 2, and this is kind of unfortunate because I don't think a lot of vendors realized what the draw of Quest 3's battery power was going to be. and that kind of stinks. So they did amend this already. In my testing, I got anywhere from 4 to 5 hours out of this. The battery is not hot swappable, so you can't swap it out. So again, if you're not a VR power user, if you're not someone who's going to be in your headset for 5 or 6 hours like I do at a time, this strap will work fine for you. In testing this, I didn't have the issue that I had with the Zyber Powerbank, where this got sucked dry in like a few minutes. Like I've been reading about some people having issues with that. Full disclosure, there are some reviews on Amazon saying that the arm or something these broke. I've not experienced that myself. I've had this for about 3 weeks now. No issue with build quality or anything like that. If that changes, I'll let you guys know. But for my experience, it's a pretty solid strap. And the reality is, unfortunately, just because of, as we're learning about how much power the Quest 3 really needs, I think a lot of these vendors, AnnaPro included, Zyber included, Bobo's going through it, I know Kiwi's back in testing on theirs, they're going to have to release bigger, more robust battery packs than what they've used for Quest 2 in the past, or Pico 4, or any other headset. They're going to have to release a better battery with more voltage, more amperage, more milliamps, basically to be able to get more watts into the headset at a time to keep it charged. So I think we're going to see better versions of these in a few months. Last on the list is VR Rock. They make prescription lenses for your Quest 3. Full disclosure, I do not wear glasses. They were kind enough to send me their blue light lenses for testing. One of the things I really wanted to test was how they fit on the facial interface. So if you look at the housing of the Quest 3, as opposed to the Quest 2, which had the Fresnel lenses that stuck out really far, and you can get a magnetic holder over the top of those and get the lens nice and flush against it, the Quest 3 really doesn't have that. So my curiosity was, what happens when you have when you can't stick a magnetic holder over that? VR Rock did something really slick. So these come in 2 parts. There's a magnetic holder here, and then there's the actual lens, and these kind of fit together magnetically like that. So one's already in there. I'm just going to put the other one in there live. Just hit that on there, give a little bit of a push, and that's all you need, and it's in there, good to go. When you put the facial interface on, and most people who have a Quest 3 know this at this point, but if you put the facial interface on, there's actually a spacer that allows you to push your eyes further or bring your eyes closer to the lenses. When I had the VR Rock lenses in, I had to set this to the 1st or 2nd setting, otherwise my eyelashes would brush against it. If you have longer eyelashes, you might push it back a little bit further. But still, if you're wearing glasses, you probably have this all the way out anyway. So this may get you closer to the lenses, which will give you a bigger field of view. So that's going to be another ancillary benefit to it. So this one's a no-brainer. If you wear glasses, order from VR Rock. There's a discount code down below, and I've got a link to their prescription lenses. Let me know down in the comments what accessories you've picked up, or if there are companies or specific products that you recommend, or more specifically that you don't recommend, or what use cases there were for, because there's a lot of accessories out there, and there are going to be a lot more as these companies who just got their Quest 3s really in the last few weeks get their hands on these products, use them, stress test them, and hopefully we're going to get better battery straps down the line that are going to really power it for the power user and get you like that 6 to 9 hour range that we used to on the Quest 2. Hopefully we should see those soon. Again, there are timestamps and links to every single product I reviewed in this video down below. Be sure to check those companies out. Let me know if you picked them up. And as always, thank you for watching.